MMA boxing talk here. I want to talk about all the upcoming fights from UFC 205 all the way to UFC 207. Basically, all of November and all of December. The UFC has a great schedule lined up, packed with great fights. Lots to look forward to. So, um, next fight is November 5th, RDA versus Tony Ferguson. I won't get into that fight, but I just put out a prediction video for that fight yesterday, so go check that out. Um, then, of course, it's UFC 205. I mean, this card is the best card ever on paper. Hopefully, it lives up to the hype because, UFC 200 was a letdown. It'd be nice at least if this lived up to the hype. The hype. And the Fertitas always wanted this to be like a Super Bowl type event, and especially the debut in New York at MSG, they wanted it to be like something really special. And I'm sure even though they sold the company, they'd be proud to see this card do really well. But anyway, like I mean, the three title fights are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal fights. We have Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor, Tyron Woodley, the champion, taking on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Ioana and Jacek versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz, another like amazing fight. Two Polish women going at it. Chris Weidman, Yoel Romero possibly will have title implications of that fight. Um, Gaslam Cerrone, Misha Tate, and Raquel Pennington. That's the main card. I mean, such a great main card, worth every penny for the whatever the $60 it costs. And then the prelims, you got Edgar versus Stevens, Nurmagomedov versus Johnson. Those two fights are really solid. I mean, those could headline any card. Maybe not a pay-per-view, but definitely a free card. Those two fights could headline, no problem. But moving right along, the weekend after, November 19th, we have a card in Brazil. The headline is Bader versus Nogueira. But what I'm more interested in is Thomas Almeida making his return, and Claudia Gadelha as well will be fighting. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into their opponents, but I'm interested to see them. Those fighters are on my radar, coming off tough losses. Almeida got knocked out. So let's see how he responds. He's a great, exciting fighter. He was on a hell of a roll until Cody Garbrandt got a hold of him. Claudia Gadelha, I always thought, I still do, that she's the best fighter at 115 pounds beside Joanna. Um, I always wanted to see Claudia fight Kowalkiewicz first to see how good Kowalkiewicz is. But I guess Joanna doesn't fight like Claudia. So anyway, so that's a decent card. The next weekend, November 26th, we got Rockhold versus Souza, another fight that might have title implications. It'll be interesting to see what the UFC does. Will they give the winner of Weidman and Romero a chance at Bisping, or will they, give the winner of Rockhold Souza? Rockhold Souza's probably, the two better fighters at this point. Even though Weidman, I'd like to see him get another crack at the title. But on the co-main event of Rockhold Souza is Derek Brunson versus Robert Whitaker. That's another fight. I think it'll be a good matchup. Curious to see. Both guys have a lot of power. Knockout guys. Great strikers, Should be a good one. And then the weekend after that, we have, which is December 3rd, we have Mighty Mouse taking on the winner of the Tough Finale Show, which, the Tough Finale Show is not as much of a joke and of a farce as I thought it would be. It's arguably one of the best seasons Ultimate Fighter reality show has ever had. I mean, they took all champions from other organizations, all guys that were experienced fighters, and the winner, we'll see what happens. But the guy that was seated number 16 in the house just beat the number 9th ranked guy. Louis Smoka lost to, I can't remember the guy's name, Frig. But anyway, he was the 16th ranked seeded guy in the house, and he just beat a top 10 opponent in the UFC. So, don't let the TV show fool you. But even though Mighty Mouse is still going to win that fight. But the co-main event on that card on December 3rd is Joseph Benavidez versus Henry Cejudo. That should be an interesting one. But and then after that, the weekend after that, December 9th, an awesome heavyweight card. Looking forward to this one. It'll be in Albany, um, Albany, New York. We got Derek Lewis is taking on Shamil. Can't pronounce his last name, but that'll be a good fight. Derek Lewis is, he's like 16 wins and 14 of those by KO. And then in the co-main event, we have Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou is taking on Anthony Hamilton. Another, another guy on my radar is Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, however you want to pronounce it. But he's a beast. This guy, very smart, but also has a ton of power and very strategic in there. He's not he's very calculated. Let's put it that way. And Derek Lewis, I mean, he's been on my radar for a while too. This is the second time these guys fight on the same card, so maybe they're trying to tell us something. Maybe they're gonna match these guys up eventually. And also on that card, we have Aljamain Sterling versus Rafael Assunção. That's a pretty solid fight. Those guys are pretty high rankings at 135, which is an awesome division. That card though, with Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, and Aljamain Sterling versus Assunção, that's on a Friday and December 9th, and then the next day, Saturday, December 10th, we have UFC 206, DC versus Rumble. It's going to be a good one, of course. And then another fight I cannot wait for is Cub Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi. That's going to be amazing. Both very dangerous strikers. Man, that's going to be a good fight. Choi is so precise. He's so effortless in there. And Cub is dangerous as hell. Way more experience. It's going to be a great fight. And then the weekend after that, we have UFC on Fox 22, which is I'm looking forward to this card. It's a great free card on Fox. You can't miss it. It's not Fox Sport 1. It's normal Fox, regular Fox. Everyone gets that channel. And the main event for that is Paige Van Zant versus Michelle Waterson. 12 gauge Paige Van Zant versus Michelle the Karate Hottie Waterson. That's going to be a sweet fight. It's a great matchup. It's actually going to be all fireworks. You can't miss that fight. And in the co-main event, Uriah Faber is going to be his last fight in the UFC, and then he's going to retire, and it's against Brad Pickett, another solid, opponent. Both guys are at the end of their career. They both always have exciting fights, so that should be a solid fight. And also, the fight before that will be Mickey Gall versus Sage Northcutt. That's a great fight. Mickey Gall called Northcutt out after he beat CM Punk. It was a smart move. Northcutt is, all the hardcore fans know who he is. A win over Northcutt would be very good for Mickey Gall's career. It would more or less really solidify him in the UFC because he's only ever beat CM Punk. So, but and then December 30th on a Friday, the day before New Year's Eve, we're gonna have UFC 207, which is another stacked card to end the year. I mean, 2016 is by far UFC's best financial year, and 2015 broke all the records last year, and this year is going to be even better than last year. Closing out with 205 and 207. So 207, the main event is Ronda Rousey's return for the title against Amanda Nunes. This is going to be a great fight. Just to see Ronda come back is huge. And then in the co-main event, we have Dominic Cruz versus Cody Garbrandt for the title. Dominic Cruz, the greatest bantamweight fighter that ever lived. And he was out with injury for so many years. He got stripped of the title due to inactivity, and came back, beat T.J. Dillashaw. Very close, controversial fight, but he did enough to win on the cards for sure, despite it being very close. And now he defended his title against Uriah Faber, and now he's fighting Cody Garbrandt. Cody No Love, knockout power galore, the best knockout artist at 135 in my opinion, and he probably has the most power as well, him or John Lineker, but Garbrandt's quicker and he's a better boxer. He's more precise than Lineker, but he's gonna have his hands full with Dominic Cruz, best footwork in UFC and MMA history. Period. Dominic Cruz is a stud, the master of movement. It's gonna be a really good fight. And then also on that card we have Fabricio Werdum versus Cain Velasquez, number one versus number two contender. Title implications, 100%. I mean, there's nobody really else. Fabricio Werdum, or sorry, Alistair Overeem just lost the title. Junior Dos Santos, who knows what's going on with that? But I mean, he can't. They're not going to give Junior the title shot over Cain Velasquez if he beats Werdum. And if Werdum beats Cain Velasquez, I could see them making the rematch with Stipe and Werdum. So you know, I'm rooting for Cain. I think Cain's going to get the job done this time, and I want to see Cain versus Stipe. I think that would be a great fight. But if it's a Werdum rematch with Stipe, I think that would be great as well. I don't think Werdum would charge at Stipe this time, or in the rematch. So either way, lots to look forward to. Let me know what you guys think, though. Tell me what fights you guys are most looking forward to. If I had to pick a couple, I'd have to say, obviously McGregor Alvarez, Wonder Boy versus Woodley. I'm really looking forward to. Cub Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi as another one I cannot wait for. Dominic Cruz, Cody Garbrandt, the Ronda Rousey return. Joanna and Jacek as well on UFC 205. But so much to look forward to. I just wanted to put out a video, talking about the upcoming schedule in November and December of the UFC. It's going to, close out 2016 with a bang. And we have 2 amazing months of fights to look forward to. And remember, go check out my UFC Fight Night 98 prediction video for Rafael Dos Anjos, RDA versus El Kukui, Tony Ferguson. My prediction video I put out yesterday. Go check that out. And that's what's going to kickstart all these great fights. So you cannot miss it. But that's it for this one. If you liked the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMA Boxing Talk 1. Peace.